Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. Let me take you back to that moment in the Metro Court Gardens when everything changed. Curtis has always been a man of deep feeling, the kind of father and partner who would move mountains for the people he loves. Yet there he was, watching Isaiah place his hand on Porsha's pregnant belly. And in that single instant, all the old doubts, the old lies, and the fierce protectiveness he still carries for that unborn child exploded. I won't pretend I wasn't shocked by the violence. I actually gasped out loud when Curtis struck Isaiah, but I also understood it. After everything Porsha and Curtis have been through, the deceptions, the separations, the quiet rebuilding of trust, seeing another man touch what Curtis still believes is his future family was simply more than his heart could bear. I've lived long enough to know that love and rage can sit side by side in the same soul, and Curtis has never been one to hide either. What has stayed with me most, though, is what happened to Isaiah afterward. That fall against the table and onto the hard floor looked devastating, even on screen. As a surgeon whose hands are his entire livelihood, Isaiah suddenly faced the terrifying possibility that those skilled fingers might never hold a scalpel again. I've watched him pour his heart into his work, especially that upcoming surgery for little Derek, the one he described as perhaps the most important of his career. He spoke so movingly about the children he once treated in Africa, about how Derek reminded him of them, and how this procedure carried the weight of every life he had ever saved. When the camera lingered on his face afterward, the pain wasn't just physical. It was the dawning realization that his identity, his purpose, his very reason for waking up each morning might be slipping away. I felt for him, truly. I've known too many people in my own life whose bodies betrayed their dreams, and Isaiah's quiet obsession with what he might lose has been portrayed with heartbreaking honesty. And now that obsession has turned into something darker, something that feels both inevitable and painful to watch. Isaiah is no longer simply a victim. He is a man ready to fight back with every tool at his disposal. I've seen the shift in his eyes, the way his jaw tightens when Curtis's name is mentioned. He has decided that Curtis must pay, and the way he is preparing to do it by gathering fresh evidence about the assault and taking it straight to Detective Joe feels both calculated and deeply personal. This isn't the cool professional Isaiah we first met. This is a man whose entire world has been upended, and he is willing to use the legal system itself as his weapon. I find myself asking, as I'm sure many of you are, is this justice or is it retribution dressed in the language of the law? For me, it's a little of both. Isaiah has every right to be furious, yet I worry that the revenge he seeks may cost him the very compassion that once made him such a gifted doctor. At the same time, my heart aches for Curtis. Jordan has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to shield him from the full force of the Port Charles Police Department's investigation. I've always admired Jordan's strength. She and Curtis share a complicated history, but her loyalty in this moment feels genuine. She's calling in favors, reviewing evidence, and trying to remind everyone that one moment of blind rage does not define the man Curtis has been for years. Yet, the new information Isaiah is bringing forward seems to be tightening the net. If Curtis is formally charged and taken into custody, it will change everything for him. His relationship with Porsha, his role as a father-to-be, even his place in the community he has fought so hard to belong to. I keep wondering whether the writers are showing us that no one, not even a beloved character like Curtis, can escape the consequences of losing control so completely. What strikes me most about this entire arc is how it reflects something I've noticed in General Hospital over the decades. The way personal pain can ripple outward and reshape an entire circle of lives. We've seen it before, Luke and Laura, Sonny and Carly, Jason, and so many others, where one impulsive act sets off a chain reaction that no one can fully control. Here, Curtis's single punch has endangered Isaiah's career, strained Porsha's fragile peace, pulled Jordan back into a protective role she may not have wanted, and forced the police department to choose sides. I've lived through enough real-life family dramas to know that anger rarely stays contained. It spills into courtrooms, into hospital rooms, into quiet conversations late at night. The show is reminding us of that truth with remarkable tenderness. I'll be honest with you, dear friends, there are moments when I wish Story had taken a gentler path, I wish Curtis had walked away, counted to 10, and remembered the man he has become rather than the hot-headed protector he once was. I also wish Isaiah had found a way to channel his fear and grief into healing rather than vengeance. But I understand why the writers chose this road. They are showing us that even the best of us can break under pressure, and that forgiveness is never simple when someone's livelihood, someone's future hangs in the balance. Isaiah's growing obsession with making Curtis pay feels authentic to me, precisely because it is so human. We've all known that moment when pain makes us want to strike back rather than forgive. The question the show is quietly asking us is whether striking back will truly mend what was broken or whether it will only create new wounds that may never heal. As I sit here thinking about the coming weeks, I find myself hoping for a measure of grace somewhere in this storm. Perhaps Jordan's efforts will remind Curtis of the importance of accountability without destroying him. Perhaps Isaiah will discover that his hands can still heal in ways he hasn't yet imagined, even if they never hold a scalpel again. Or perhaps the story will take us somewhere darker still, forcing every character to confront the cost of unchecked emotion. Whatever happens, I'll be right here watching, the way I have been since I was a young mother, stealing an hour of soap opera between loads of laundry. These characters have grown older with me, and I with them. Their joys are mine, their mistakes teach me, and their struggles remind me that none of us is beyond redemption. What strikes me most right now is how Porsha has suddenly been thrust into an entirely new kind of heartbreak. Just when it seemed the dust might settle after that terrible night at the Metro Court Gardens, Curtis has slipped into a fresh spiral of rage that none of us saw coming. I've always known him as a man of deep feeling, the kind of father and partner who would move mountains for the people he loves. Yet here he is again, exploding in ways that make my heart ache for the woman carrying his child. Porsha is caught in the middle, trying to protect her unborn baby, while watching the man she has fought so hard to rebuild a life with unravel before her eyes. The new adjustments in the writing show Curtis truly losing control once more, and it places Porsha in a position I wouldn't wish on any mother to be. She's torn between her loyalty to Curtis and the terrifying reality that his outburst could destroy everything they've tried to salvage. At the same time, Isaiah's behavior has taken a darker turn that I find both understandable and deeply troubling. He is growing more obsessed, more unhinged with each passing day, convinced that his future as a surgeon has been stolen from him. I watched him pour his heart into that upcoming surgery for little Derek, the one he called perhaps the most important of his career, and now that possibility is slipping away. His obsession with making Curtis pay has moved beyond anger into something almost feverish. He is gathering evidence, speaking with Detective Joe, and pushing the legal system forward with a determination that feels relentless. I've lived long enough to know that pain can twist even the kindest soul, and Isaiah's growing frenzy is a painful reminder of how quickly a good man can lose his way when his entire identity is threatened. What surprises me most, though, is how Isaiah's escalating madness is pulling Porsha into her own emotional storm. She has always been the steady one, the doctor who keeps her composure even when the world around her is falling apart. But the trouble Isaiah is stirring up his single-minded drive for revenge is forcing Porsha to confront truths she may not be ready to face. I saw it in her eyes during those quiet hospital scenes, a new kind of explosion building inside her. She is no longer just worried about Curtis. She is furious at the way Isaiah's actions are tearing at the fragile peace she has tried to create for her family. Porsha is having her own quiet breakdown, the kind that comes from loving two complicated men and realizing that neither path offers easy answers. One moment she is defending Curtis with every fiber of her being, the next she is overwhelmed by the chaos Isaiah's obsession has unleashed. It feels so real to me, this new layer of difficulty the writers have given her. After all these years of watching Porsha navigate love, loss, and motherhood, seeing her pushed to the edge like this reminds me that even the strongest women can reach a breaking point when the people they care about refuse to stop hurting each other. I'll be honest with you, dear friends. There are moments when I wish the story had taken a gentler path. I wish Curtis had found the strength to step back before this new explosion took hold. I wish Isaiah had channeled his fear into healing rather than vengeance. And most of all, I wish Porsha didn't have to carry the weight of both men's pain while trying to protect the new life growing inside her. Yet I understand why the writers chose this road. They are showing us that personal pain doesn't stay contained, it ripples outward and reshapes everyone it touches. Curtis's latest outburst, Isaiah's deepening obsession, and Porsha's own building turmoil create a perfect storm in Port Charles, one that feels both heartbreaking and strangely true to life.